Dream of palaces, beaches, cities, and kings. Poets and explorers? Welcome to Portugal, a land of wonders, where every street, every river, every stone carries the soul of a nation that once conquered the seas and still conquers hearts today. In this journey, we'll take you across Portugal's most amazing places, from the vibrant charm of Lisbon to the wine-soaked beauty of Porto, from the magical palaces of Sintra to the sunlit cliffs of the Algarve, from the vineyards of the Douro Valley to the historic heart of Coimbra, and finally to Braga and Guimarães, the cradle of Portugal itself. This isn't just travel. This is a cinematic adventure through one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Get ready, because the wonders of Portugal are about to unfold before your eyes in stunning 4K. Have you ever stepped into a city where time feels like it bends, where the past, present, and future live side by side, carried on the salty breeze of the Atlantic? Lisbon is that city. A capital like no other in Europe. It is both ancient and youthful, elegant and raw, slow-paced yet alive with rhythm. To walk its streets is to feel centuries of history under your feet while hearing the pulse of a modern nation in your ears. This is not just a destination. Lisbon is an experience that will awaken every sense. The first thing you notice is light. Lisbon is famous for its glow, the way the sun reflects off the Tagus River, spilling golden rays onto the city's pastel-colored houses and the tiled facades that glitter like jewels. The city feels alive in its colors, yellow trams rattling through narrow streets, blue azulejos decorating centuries, old walls, and the red roofs stretching to the horizon. Every turn feels like walking into a painting. Start in Alfama, Lisbon's oldest district. Here, time slows down. Cobbled streets wind like a labyrinth, leading you past whitewashed houses, flower-filled balconies, and little taverns where you hear the haunting sounds of fado music floating through open windows. Alfama survived the devastating 1755 earthquake, making it one of the few places where you can still touch medieval Lisbon. Standing at the Miradouro de Santa Luzia, with the Tagus River shimmering in the distance and the tiled murals telling stories of long ago, you understand why poets and artists have been inspired by this city for centuries. From there, Lisbon rises into grandeur. Belém is where Portugal's age of discovery still breathes. The iconic Belém Tower stands proud on the riverbank, a fortress that once guarded sailors as they set out to explore the unknown world. Nearby, the Jerónimos Monastery dazzles with its intricate Manuelan architecture, a masterpiece that feels carved from stone lace. It was here that explorers prayed before embarking on voyages that would change the world. And just steps away, the aroma of sweet pastries leads you to the famous Pastel de Belém bakery, where custard tarts are baked to perfection following a recipe kept secret for centuries. One bite, and you taste the soul of Portugal. But Lisbon is not only about history, it is a city of life, movement, and energy. Climb aboard the iconic Tram 28, its wooden frame creaking as it rattles through the city's steep hills, past cathedrals, palaces, and bustling neighborhoods. Every ride is a journey through time, a moving postcard of Lisbon's charm. At the top of the hills, viewpoints like Miradouro da Senhora do Monte or São Pedro de Alcântara offer breathtaking panoramas. From here, the city spreads out before you like a living canvas, red rooftops, white churches, and the mighty river flowing toward the sea. As the sun begins to set, Lisbon transforms again. The Bairro Alto awakens, its streets filling with laughter, music, and the aroma of sizzling sardines and grilled seafood. Cafes and bars spill onto the cobblestones, where locals and travelers gather, glasses of vinho verde raised in celebration. This is Lisbon's rhythm, vibrant, authentic, unpretentious. And then there is fado. To truly know Lisbon, you must listen to this music of longing. In a dimly lit tavern, a singer's voice carries the saudade of the Portuguese soul, melancholic, powerful, and beautiful. It is a reminder that Lisbon is not just a city of monuments and views, but a city of emotions, where joy and sorrow blend into harmony. Lisbon is not a city you simply visit, it is a city you feel. You feel it in the warmth of its people, who greet you with a smile and treat you like family. You feel it in the taste of its food, grilled octopus, codfish prepared 100 ways, and sweet pastries that melt in your mouth. You feel it in the breeze from the Tagus, carrying the stories of explorers, poets, kings, and dreamers. And, perhaps most of all, you feel it when you leave. Because Lisbon stays with you, the light, the music, the colors, the spirit. It calls you back, whispering promises of streets you haven't yet walked and sunsets you haven't yet seen. This is Lisbon. Timeless, unforgettable, and always waiting for you to return. Have you ever been to a city where the river itself feels alive, where it reflects centuries of history, bridges soaring above, and sunsets so golden they seem to melt into wine? Welcome to Porto. This is not just a city, it is a masterpiece painted by time, crafted by culture, and flavored by tradition. If Lisbon is the beating heart of Portugal, then Porto is its soul, deep, rich, and unforgettable. The first thing that strikes you in Porto is the Douro River, cutting through the city like a shimmering ribbon. On one side, the Ribeira district spills down the hillside, its colorful houses stacked like building blocks, their balconies draped with laundry and flowers. On the other side, Vila Nova de Gaia waits, where rows of cellars guard the treasure that gave Porto its name, port wine. Together, they form a living postcard, a scene so beautiful it feels unreal. Start your journey in Ribeira, Porto's old quarter, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Here, the narrow streets are alive with energy, with cafes spilling onto cobblestones and street musicians filling the air with melody. Sit by the river and watch the traditional Rebelo boats glide past flat-bottomed vessels once used to transport barrels of wine from the Douro Valley. Even now, they seem like time travelers, carrying the spirit of Portugal's winemaking legacy. Above Ribeira rises the most iconic symbol of Porto, the Dom Luís First Bridge. Designed by a student of Gustave Eiffel, this iron giant spans the Douro with 2 levels, connecting Porto to Vila Nova de Gaia. Walk across its upper deck, and you'll find one of the most breathtaking views in all of Portugal. As you stand there, the entire city stretches before you, the terracotta rooftops, the tiled churches, the glistening river below. At sunset, when the sky burns with orange and pink, Porto transforms into pure magic. But Porto is not just about views, it is about taste. And nothing defines this city more than port wine. Step into one of Gaia's famous wine cellars, where rows of oak barrels sleep in the cool darkness. Here, you'll learn how the Douro Valley's grapes, harvested from steep terraced vineyards, are transformed into the rich, sweet wine that has been exported to the world for centuries. A glass of tawny or ruby port, sipped slowly as the sun sets over the river, is not just a drink, it is a ritual, a connection to centuries of tradition. Back in the city, Porto's streets reveal even more wonders. The azulejos, those blue and white ceramic tiles, cover churches and train stations, turning architecture into art. At São Bento Station, the walls are alive with scenes of Portuguese history, a gallery that welcomes every traveler. And then there is the Livraria Lello, often called one of the most beautiful bookstores in the world, with its winding staircase and stained glass ceiling. So enchanting, it is said to have inspired J.K. Rowling while writing Harry Potter. Climb higher into the city, and you reach the Clérigos Tower, a Baroque masterpiece that dominates the skyline. From its top, Porto unfolds in every direction, a patchwork of rooftops, domes, and bridges stretching into the distance. Standing here, you feel not only the grandeur of the city but also its intimacy, its warmth, its sense of belonging. As night falls, Porto comes alive in a different way. The Ribeira is bathed in golden light, the reflections dancing on the Douro like liquid fire. Locals and travelers gather along the riverbanks, glasses clinking, laughter echoing, music filling the night air. This is the Porto experience, where history, culture, and life merge into one unforgettable moment. But perhaps the true essence of Porto lies in its spirit of saudade, that Portuguese word for longing, nostalgia, and love all at once. Porto is a city that embraces you with warmth, yet leaves you with a gentle ache when you leave. It is in the flavor of its wine, the glow of its sunsets, and the kindness of its people. Porto does not shout for attention. It whispers, and its voice stays with you forever. When you leave Porto, you carry more than memories. You carry a feeling of standing by the river as the sky turned to fire, of tasting a glass of wine that held centuries in every drop, of walking through streets where history breathes through every stone. Porto is not a city you simply visit. It is a city that lives within you long after you've gone. What if I told you there's a place in Portugal that feels like it was plucked straight out of a fairy tale? A place where palaces sit on misty hilltops, hidden gardens conceal secret tunnels, and castles whisper the legends of kings and knights. That place is Sintra, just 30 minutes from Lisbon. This enchanting town is unlike anywhere else in the country. Sintra is not simply a destination, it is a dream, a living fantasy where reality and imagination merge. As you arrive, the first thing that strikes you is the landscape. Sintra lies at the foot of a mountain range draped in dense forests, where the air is cooler, fresher, and touched with the scent of eucalyptus and pine. The hills hide treasures of unimaginable beauty, and each turn of the winding roads reveals another surprise. This is why Sintra has long been a retreat for royalty, poets, and artists, because here, inspiration flows as freely as the mountain streams. The crown jewel of Sintra is the Peña Palace. Rising high above the clouds, this colorful palace looks more like a painting than real life. Its red, yellow, and blue towers shine against the green backdrop of the forest, and its eclectic mix of architectural styles, romantic, Gothic, Manueline, and even Moorish, create a structure so unique, it feels like stepping into a fantasy world. Wander through its courtyards, climb its terraces, and gaze out at the sweeping views of the Atlantic Ocean and Lisbon far in the distance. It is no wonder that Peña Palace is often called one of the most beautiful palaces in the world. But Sintra's magic doesn't end there. Just a short distance away lies the Quinta da Regalera, a mystical estate filled with gardens, grottos, and symbols of hidden meaning. At its heart is the Initiation Well, a spiraling stone staircase that descends deep underground, said to represent a journey into the unknown. Walking through these gardens feels like stepping into a secret world. Every archway, every hidden tunnel, every carved symbol seems to whisper stories of alchemy, mythology, and mystery. It is a place that sparks your imagination, where the line between reality and legend blurs. Then, there is the Moorish castle, a fortress built nearly 1,000 years ago. Its stone walls snake across the mountain ridge, offering some of the most breathtaking views in Sintra. From here, you can see the Peña Palace perched like a crown above the hills, the town of Sintra below, and the vast Atlantic stretching endlessly on the horizon. Walking along the castle walls, with the wind rushing past and the stones echoing centuries of history, you feel the presence of the past all around you. In the heart of Sintra, the National Palace awaits with its iconic twin chimneys rising into the sky. This was once the residence of Portuguese monarchs, and its rooms still echo with grandeur. The intricate tile work, the richly decorated halls, and the blend of Moorish and Manueline styles tell the story of Portugal's golden age. Standing here, you can almost hear the footsteps of kings, queens, and nobles who once filled these halls with life. But Sintra is not only about palaces and castles, it is also about atmosphere. The town itself is charming, with narrow cobbled streets, little cafes, and artisan shops selling local pastries like travesseros, sweet puff pastries filled with almond cream. Sit in a cafe, sip a coffee, and watch as travelers and locals alike wander the streets with wonder in their eyes. And when the day draws to a close, Sintra takes on a new kind of beauty. As the sun sets, the palaces glow with golden light, their towers and walls bathed in warmth. The mist begins to rise from the forests, wrapping the hills in a magical veil. It feels as though Sintra itself is alive, breathing, dreaming, and waiting for the next traveler to discover its secrets. What makes Sintra unforgettable is not only what you see, but what you feel. It is the sense of wonder as you climb the steps of the initiation well. It is the awe of standing on castle walls, overlooking endless horizons. It is the joy of walking through gardens that seem alive with stories. Sintra is not just a place, it is a journey into imagination, a world that makes you believe in magic again. When you leave, you do not leave Sintra behind, it stays with you, etched in your memory, like the lingering echo of a dream you never want to wake from. What if I told you that paradise isn't far away, that it lies at the very edge of Europe, where the land crumbles into golden cliffs and the sea sparkles in endless shades of blue? This is the Algarve, the southern coast of Portugal, and one of the most breathtaking places on earth. It is a land where nature has sculpted wonders, where fishing villages cling to cliffs, and where every sunrise and sunset feels like a masterpiece painted just for you. The Algarve is famous for its coastline, and once you see it, you'll understand why. Imagine towering limestone cliffs carved into arches, caves, and grottos by centuries of wind and waves. Below, hidden coves reveal sandy beaches so perfect they feel untouched by time. The most iconic of all is the Beniguil Cave, a natural cathedral carved by the sea, with an open skylight that allows beams of sunlight to illuminate its golden interior. Standing inside, listening to the waves echo through the cavern, you realize this is not just a beach, it's a miracle of nature. Further along the coast, Praia da Marinha awaits. Frequently ranked among the most beautiful beaches in the world, this stretch of sand is framed by dramatic cliffs and crystal clear waters. From above, the view is astonishing, arches and rock formations rising from turquoise waves, a scene so perfect it looks unreal. And when you step down to the sand, the water invites you in, warm and calm, ideal for swimming or simply floating under the sun. The Algarve is also a place of adventure. In Lagos, a historic town with whitewashed walls and cobbled streets, you can embark on boat tours that weave through sea caves and natural arches, each more stunning than the last. Kayaking and paddleboarding allow you to explore at your own pace, gliding across waters so clear you can see the fish swimming below. For those who seek thrills, the cliffs around Sagres, once thought to be the edge of the known world, offer dramatic hikes and views that will leave you breathless. But the Algarve is not only about beaches and cliffs, it is also about culture. In small fishing villages like Alvor and Carvoeiro, time seems to slow down. Colorful boats rest in the harbors, fishermen mend their nets, and restaurants serve fresh seafood straight from the ocean. Grilled sardines, cataplana de marisco, a rich seafood stew, and sweet almond desserts are flavors that define this region. To dine here is to taste the sea, the sun, and the tradition of generations who have lived by the water. History is also written into the Algarve stones. The town of Silves, once the Moorish capital of the region, is crowned by a red sandstone castle that dominates the landscape. Walking its ancient walls, you feel the layers of history from Moorish rule to Christian reconquest woven into every brick. Tavira, often called the most beautiful town in the Algarve, enchants with its Roman bridge, whitewashed houses, and serene atmosphere, offering a quieter side of the coast that feels timeless. And then, there are the sunsets. Few places in the world rival the magic of the Algarve's golden hour. At Cape St. Vincent, the southwesternmost point of Europe, the sun sinks into the Atlantic in a blaze of fire, the cliffs glowing red and orange while the ocean swallows the last light of day. Standing there, you feel the immensity of nature, the endless horizon stretching before you, and a sense of wonder that words can barely capture. But what truly makes the Algarve unforgettable is its balance of beauty and peace. Here, you can find excitement in water sports, adventure in exploring caves, history in ancient towns, and tranquility in quiet villages. It is a place where every traveler finds their own version of paradise, whether that's lying on a hidden beach, dining by the sea, or standing on a cliff with the wind in your hair and the world at your feet. When you leave the Algarve, you don't just take memories of beaches and sunsets. You take a feeling of freedom, of serenity, of having touched a corner of the earth where nature and culture blend perfectly. The Algarve is not only a destination, it is a dream, one you will carry with you long after the waves fade from sight. Have you ever looked at a landscape and wondered if it was painted by human hands or sculpted by nature itself? In Portugal's Douro Valley, that question has no answer, because it is both. Here, the river winds like a silver ribbon through endless mountains, and along its banks stretch terraced vineyards that seem to defy gravity. This is a place where time slows, where the land tells the story of centuries, and where every glass of wine carries the flavor of history. The Douro Valley is one of the oldest demarcated wine regions in the world, recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. For thousands of years, people have shaped its hillsides, carving terraces into the steep slopes to cultivate grapes. The result is breathtaking. Mile after mile of patterned vineyards, rising and falling with the rhythm of the land, changing color with the seasons. In spring, they are green and alive. In summer, golden and lush. In autumn, they blaze red and orange. And in winter, they rest in silence. At the heart of this valley lies the Douro River. Flowing from Spain to Porto, it is the lifeline of the region, carrying stories as old as civilization itself. In ancient times, wine barrels were transported downstream on wooden boats known as rabelos, braving rapids and currents to deliver Portugal's most precious treasure, port wine. Today, those same rivers are cruised by elegant boats, offering travelers a chance to drift through the valley and witness its beauty from the water. Every bend of the Douro brings a new vision. Vineyards cling to impossible slopes, small villages rise on hilltops, and ancient quintas wine estates dot the landscape. These quintas are the heart and soul of the region. Visiting one is like stepping into living history. Families who have cultivated the land for generations open their doors to share their passion. You walk among the vines, touch the soil, breathe the scent of grapes ripening under the sun. And then, in cool stone cellars, you taste the wines, the bold reds, the delicate whites, and of course, the rich, sweet port that has made the valley famous around the world. But the Douro is not just about wine, it is about connection. It is about the relationship between people and the land, nurtured for centuries. It is about tradition passed down, preserved with care, but also about innovation, as new generations bring fresh ideas to ancient practices. When you sit at a table overlooking the valley, with a glass in your hand and the river below, you feel a bond not only with Portugal, but with everyone who has walked this valley before you. The valley also offers an escape into nature. Beyond the vineyards lie olive groves, almond trees, and wild landscapes where eagles soar above cliffs and rivers sparkle in the sun. Hiking trails lead you through quiet paths, where silence is broken only by the sound of the wind and the rustle of leaves. And then there are the views, panoramas that stop you in your tracks, that make you forget the rush of life and remind you how vast and beautiful the world can be. In the towns that line the river, tradition thrives. Paso da Regua, once the hub of wine transport, now welcomes visitors with museums and festivals that celebrate the valley's culture. Pinhao, a charming village at the heart of the Douro, enchants with its historic train station, decorated with blue and white tiles that tell the story of wine, harvests, and the river itself. Everywhere you go, the valley breathes its history through architecture, through art, through the people who live here. And then there are the sunsets. When the light begins to fade, the Douro Valley transforms into something otherworldly. The sky glows pink and gold, the river reflects the fading light, and the vineyards seem to stretch into infinity. In that moment, the valley feels eternal, as if it has been here since the beginning of time and will remain long after we are gone. To journey through the Douro Valley is to experience a harmony between man and nature that is rare in today's world. It is to taste the patience of centuries in a single sip of wine, to feel the weight of history in the stones of a cellar, and to witness beauty that words can only attempt to capture. The Douro is not just a valley, it is a living story, written across hills and rivers, poured into every glass, and carried in the hearts of those who have seen it. When you leave, the memory does not fade. Close your eyes, and you will still see the terraced hills, still feel the sun on your face, still taste the richness of the land. The Douro Valley is more than a place, it is a gift, one that stays with you forever. Some cities feel alive with the pulse of the present. Others feel like a window into the past. And then there is Évora, a place where time itself seems to stand still. Here, every street, every stone, every arch whispers the stories of civilizations long gone, yet never forgotten. This is why Évora is called the Museum City of Portugal. To walk its cobbled streets is to journey through 2,000 years of history, a living timeline carved into whitewashed walls and ancient ruins. At the heart of Évora stands the Temple of Diana, a Roman masterpiece that has survived nearly 2 millennia. Its towering granite columns rise proudly against the sky, a reminder of the city's importance during the Roman Empire. Standing before it, you can almost imagine the bustling life of that era: merchants trading, citizens gathering, rituals being performed. Today, it is silent, yet its presence is powerful, a symbol of Évora's eternal connection to the past. Nearby lies another marvel, though far more haunting: the Chapel of Bones. At first, it looks like an ordinary church, but once you step inside, the atmosphere shifts. The walls are lined with the bones and skulls of thousands of monks, arranged meticulously as both decoration and warning. A chilling inscription greets visitors: "We bones that are here await yours." The message is clear: life is fleeting, death inevitable, and what matters most is how we live in the time we are given. It is unsettling, yes, but also deeply moving, a reminder of our shared humanity. Évora's history doesn't stop at Roman times or medieval churches. The city is also home to one of Portugal's most striking cathedrals, the Sé de Évora. Built in the 12th century, it is a fortress-like structure of granite, blending Romanesque strength with Gothic elegance. Inside, sunlight filters through stained glass, casting colors across stone walls, while the roof offers one of the best views in the city. From here, the landscape of Alentejo stretches endlessly, a sea of golden plains, dotted with olive groves and cork trees. But Évora is not only about monuments, it is also about atmosphere. The old town, encircled by medieval walls, is a labyrinth of narrow lanes where whitewashed houses are trimmed with yellow or blue paint. Small squares open unexpectedly, filled with cafes, fountains, and laughter. Time seems slower here. You can sit in Praça do Heraldo, the main square, with a coffee in hand, and simply watch the world go by, locals greeting one another, children playing, the rhythm of life unfolding at its own pace. The culture of Évora is deeply tied to its region, the Alentejo. This land is known for its wide horizons, its rich traditions, and its simple but exquisite cuisine. In Évora, you can taste dishes that carry the soul of the Alentejo. A chorda alentejana, a comforting bread soup flavored with garlic, olive oil, and herbs. Migas, made from breadcrumbs, pork, and spices. And of course, the region's famous wines, smooth and full-bodied, perfect companions to the hearty meals. Dining here is more than eating, it is sharing in centuries of tradition, passed from one generation to the next. Beyond food, Évora is alive with music, festivals, and craftsmanship. The haunting strains of Alentejo polyphonic singing, recognized by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage, echo with emotion that seems to rise from the land itself. Artisans continue to work cork into bags, shoes, and furniture, celebrating a material that is uniquely Portuguese. Every detail adds to the sense that Évora is not frozen in time, but alive with it, breathing history while embracing the present. As the day fades, Évora takes on a golden glow. The sun sets over the plains, turning the whitewashed walls to amber, while shadows stretch across the Roman ruins. In the quiet of evening, the city feels timeless. as if past and present are woven into one. It is then you realize that Evora is more than a museum, it is a living story. A place where history isn't locked away in books or glass cases, but written into the streets, the food, the songs, and the very air you breathe. When you leave Evora, you carry with you more than images of temples and cathedrals. You carry the weight of centuries, the whispers of those who walked these streets before you, and the realization that in this small Portuguese city lies a reflection of something eternal, the human journey across time. Imagine an island rising from the deep Atlantic, where cliffs plunge into the sea, where mountains touch the clouds, and where every corner bursts with flowers. This is Madeira, often called the floating garden of the Atlantic. It is not just a destination, it is an escape into a world of eternal spring, a place where nature dazzles with its beauty, and life feels slower, richer, and more colorful. Landing in Madeira, the first thing you notice is how alive the island feels. The air itself carries the scent of flowers and salt from the sea. The capital, Funchal, spreads across the hills like an amphitheater overlooking the ocean. Its streets are filled with gardens, markets, and the hum of daily life. Here, the Mercado dos Lavradores greets you with an explosion of color, exotic fruits stacked high, flowers in every shade, and vendors offering samples with smiles. Just steps away, embroidery shops and wine cellars tell of traditions preserved for centuries. Madeira is a paradise for those who love landscapes that take your breath away. High above Funchal rises Pico do Arriero, one of the island's tallest peaks. Reaching the summit, you feel as though you are standing on the roof of the world. Clouds swirl around jagged ridges, and when they part, the views stretch endlessly, revealing valleys, forests, and the shimmering Atlantic. Hiking along the ridge trails, every step feels like walking through a dream, where mountains meet the sky in a dance of light and shadow. Equally enchanting is the Laura Silva Forest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This ancient subtropical forest, a relic from the Tertiary period, is a place of mist and magic. Moss-covered trees rise high, ferns blanket the ground, and waterfalls tumble into hidden pools. Walking through it, you feel a sense of timelessness, as though you've stepped into a world untouched by modernity. Birds call through the canopy, and the air is cool, damp, and full of life. Madeira's famous Lavadas narrow irrigation channels built centuries ago offer some of the most unique hiking experiences in the world. Originally designed to bring water from the mountains to the farmlands, these lavadas now form trails that wind through forests, cliffs, and valleys. Following their paths, you hear the trickle of water at your side, while the landscapes unfold in breathtaking silence. Each trail is different, some gentle, others adventurous, but all of them connect you deeply with the heart of the island. For those who love the sea, Madeira is equally extraordinary. The coastline is rugged and dramatic, with cliffs like Cabo Girão, one of the highest sea cliffs in Europe, towering nearly 600 meters above the waves. Standing on its glass platform, you see the ocean stretching endlessly, the villages far below like miniature worlds, and you realize the raw power of this island's geography. Out at sea, dolphins and whales glide through the waters, a reminder that Madeira is not just land, but part of a vast oceanic ecosystem. And then there is the island's eternal spring. Thanks to its subtropical climate, Madeira blooms year-round. Gardens spill over with bougainvillea, hibiscus, orchids, and the striking bird of paradise flower, which has become a symbol of the island itself. The Monte Palace Tropical Garden, high above Funchal, is a wonderland of exotic plants, koi-filled ponds, and mosaics, blending nature and art in harmony. The annual flower festival transforms the island into a living celebration of color, music, and tradition, a spectacle that feels like walking through a painting. Madeira is also a place of culture and tradition. The island's famous fortified wine, Madeira wine, is a treasure known worldwide. Tasting it in its homeland is a journey through centuries of craftsmanship, each sip carrying notes of history and resilience. The food, 2. Reflects the island's character, simple, flavorful, and born from the land and sea. Grilled limpets, black scabbard fish with banana, and espetada, skewered beef grilled over open flames, are dishes that connect you to Madeira's soul. Yet beyond the sights, the hikes, the gardens, and the food, what makes Madeira unforgettable is its atmosphere. It is the sense of being surrounded by beauty at every turn. The way mornings begin with golden light over the ocean, afternoons unfold in valleys and forests, and evenings end with sunsets that set the horizon ablaze. It is the kindness of its people, the blend of tradition and nature, and the feeling that on this small island, life is lived in full color. When you leave Madeira, you realize you've experienced something rare, a place where nature has created perfection, and humanity has lived in harmony with it. Madeira is not just an island. It is a garden adrift in the sea, a dream of eternal spring that lingers in your heart long after you've gone. Chapter 8. Açores. Nature's last secret. There are places in the world so raw, so untouched, that they feel like the last great secret of nature. The Azores are one of them. 9 volcanic islands scattered in the heart of the Atlantic. Midway between Europe and America, they are Portugal's hidden paradise, wild, mysterious, and breathtakingly beautiful. To set foot here is to feel as if you've discovered a place that belongs more to the earth itself than to people. The largest of the islands, São Miguel, is often called the Green Island, and with good reason. Imagine standing at the rim of a volcanic crater and looking down on twin lakes, one blue, one green, divided only by a narrow strip of land. This is Sete Cidades, one of the most iconic landscapes in Portugal. The legend says the colors reflect the tears of a shepherd and a princess who were forbidden to be together, one lake for his sorrow, the other for hers. Whether you believe the legend or not, the view is unforgettable. São Miguel is also a place where nature gives gifts that feel otherworldly. Hot springs bubble in the town of Furnas, where geysers release steam into the air and the ground itself seems alive. Here, locals prepare a dish called cozido das furnas, a stew of meats and vegetables cooked slowly underground by volcanic heat. To taste it is to eat a meal prepared by the earth itself. The island is also famous for its tea plantations, the only ones in Europe. Rolling fields of green stretch to the horizon, producing a flavor as rich as the island's soil. But São Miguel is just the beginning. Across the archipelago, each island has its own character. On Pico Island, the tallest mountain in Portugal, rises like a giant above the sea. At 351 meters, Pico is a challenge for climbers, but even from afar, it dominates the landscape, a volcano sleeping quietly, its slopes covered with black lava fields and vineyards. These vineyards, built within stone walls to protect them from wind and sea spray, are themselves a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to human resilience against a harsh but generous land. Faial, often called the Blue Island, is known for its hydrangeas that bloom in summer, covering the island in endless shades of blue and purple. The harbor town of Horta has long been a meeting point for sailors crossing the Atlantic. Its marina is decorated with thousands of painted murals, each left by sailors as a mark of their journey. Standing here, you feel the spirit of adventure, the connection between islands, oceans, and travelers who have passed through for centuries. Then there is Terceira, home to Angra do Heroísmo, a city recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its rich history and architecture. Its colorful streets, grand churches, and lively traditions make it a place where culture and community thrive. On this island, festivals are not just events, they are a way of life, a vibrant expression of identity and joy. Yet perhaps what makes the Azores most extraordinary is not just the land, but the sea. These waters are some of the best in the world for whale watching. Sperm whales, blue whales, dolphins, and countless other species pass through, drawn by the richness of the Atlantic. To see a whale rise from the deep, to watch it breach and vanish again into the ocean, is to witness the raw power of life itself. It is a reminder that these islands are not isolated, they are part of the living, breathing world of the ocean. The Azores are also a sanctuary for those who seek peace and connection with nature. Hiking trails cross volcanic craters, waterfalls tumble into emerald pools, and lakes mirror the skies above. The air is fresh, the pace is slow, and the beauty is overwhelming. Everywhere you look, the islands seem untouched, as if preserved for those willing to step off the beaten path and discover them. What sets the Azores apart is their authenticity. This is not a place of crowded resorts or tourist traps. It is a place where you feel close to the earth, where traditions remain strong, and where sustainability is a way of life. The food is local, the hospitality genuine, and the landscapes as pure as they were centuries ago. It is, in every sense, a reminder of how the world once was and how it can still be. As the day ends in the Azores, the sunsets are unlike anywhere else. The sky turns gold, the ocean glows, and the islands rest in a light that feels eternal. In that moment, you understand why these 9 islands are called Portugal's last secret. They are not just destinations on a map. They are experiences wild, authentic, and unforgettable. When you leave the Azores, you do not feel like you visited. You feel like you've been initiated into a secret, one that only the ocean, the volcanoes, and the winds have kept safe for so long. And once you know it, you carry it with you forever. What makes a city eternal? Is it its monuments, its traditions, or the voices of generations echoing through its streets? In Coimbra, the answer is all 3. Perched on the banks of the Mondego River, this is a city where the past and the present meet, where knowledge is celebrated as much as beauty, and where every corner seems to carry the laughter, the dreams, and the songs of students. Coimbra is not just another stop in Portugal. It is the beating intellectual heart of the nation. The jewel of the city is the University of Coimbra, one of the oldest universities in Europe, founded in 1290. For more than 7 centuries, it has been a beacon of learning, shaping Portugal's culture, politics, and identity. Climb up to its hilltop campus, and you'll find yourself walking through history. The courtyard, known as the Pátio das Escolas, is framed by grand buildings, each one carrying the weight of centuries. Students, wearing their traditional black capes, still rush through its archways, keeping alive traditions that have been passed down for generations. Inside the university lies one of the most remarkable libraries in the world, the Joanina Library. Step inside, and it feels like stepping into a cathedral of knowledge. Shelves of carved wood rise to the ceiling, holding more than 200 books, some dating back to the 16th century. Golden details gleam in the dim light. Frescoed ceilings soar above, and the scent of old paper fills the air. It is more than a library. It is a sanctuary of human thought, where centuries of wisdom are preserved like a treasure. But Coimbra is not only about books, it is about the spirit of its students. Their presence shapes the city in a way that is truly unique. Songs echo through the streets at night. Most famously, the Fado de Coimbra. Unlike the soulful Fado of Lisbon, this version is performed by male students, dressed in black capes, singing with passion and melancholy beneath the windows of the old town. The sound is haunting, carrying emotion so raw that it seems to connect the listener to something eternal. To hear it live, under the moonlight, is to experience the soul of Coimbra. The city itself is as enchanting as its traditions. Narrow lanes twist uphill toward the university, opening into squares filled with cafes, bookstores, and hidden gardens. The old cathedral, Sevelha, stands proudly with its fortress-like walls, a reminder of the Romanesque style that once dominated Portugal. Meanwhile, the newer Sé Nova combines Renaissance grace with Baroque elegance, symbolizing how Coimbra has always adapted while preserving its roots. Along the river, the modern side of Coimbra thrives. Bridges stretch across the Mondego, and riverside promenades invite leisurely walks. Parks and botanical gardens showcase Portugal's natural beauty in miniature, and festivals fill the city with energy throughout the year. Coimbra is a place of contrasts, where ancient traditions and youthful vitality coexist in harmony. And then, there is the academic year itself, marked by rituals that bind students to the city and each other. At the start, freshmen are welcomed through the prax, an initiation filled with humor, symbolism, and camaraderie. At the end of the year comes the Queima das Firas, the burning of the ribbons, one of the biggest student festivals in Europe. For a week, the city transforms into a celebration of music, parades, and color. As students burn the ribbons that represent their faculties, symbolizing the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. These rituals are not just for the students, they are part of Coimbra's identity, moments when the entire city seems to join in. Yet beyond the festivals, the monuments, and the music, Coimbra carries a spirit that is harder to define but impossible to ignore. It is a city of memory, where kings were crowned, poets wrote verses, and ideas were born that shaped the nation. It is a city of youth, forever renewed by each generation of students who come to learn and live here. And it is a city of emotion, where tradition and modernity intertwine in ways that make you feel both the weight of history and the joy of the present. As the sun sets over the Mondego River, Coimbra glows with a golden light. The bells of the university echo across the hills, voices rise in song. City feels alive with a timeless rhythm. To stand here is to understand why Coimbra is not just a place, it is an experience. It is the sound of fado in the night, the sight of books centuries old, the laughter of students filling ancient courtyards. It is Portugal's soul, carried in the voice of its youth and preserved in the wisdom of its past. When you leave Coimbra, you carry with you not only the memory of its monuments, but the feeling of its spirit, a city forever young, forever wise, and forever alive.